Finally, after 8 years in this body, if you'll indulge me another minute or two, there are a few things you still don't know about me. And although I'm often, and in the picture book and by everybody's association, mentioned as hailing from Ringgold, Georgia, I'm originally from a much smaller town up where the South Chickamauga Creek cuts through the Peavine Ridge and just about to go into Tennessee. And that's where you'll find Graysville. Now, Graysville hasn't changed much since I was born. As a matter of fact, it hasn't changed much since 1849. But it has just over 100 residents on a good day. And its heart is a small country store known as the Graysville Mercantile. And the proprietors are the Brown brothers. And they've operated the store for almost 50 years. The store was the absolute center of my universe for most of my childhood. It's a place where I stayed warm while waiting on the school bus. It's where my dog waited on me till I got back off the school bus. It's where the bookmobile came to town every summer and stopped. And it's where everybody in town went that had a hand in my raising and very often a hand in my correction. This is where members of the town still gather and discuss current events, the state and the county and the nation. Perhaps just like in your town, I know you have a place like this. But there is and was and is something special about Graysville to me. As a boy, I'd watch the brothers down at the store that give what we call the treatment to visiting politicians. And that is to mock and intimidate and grill them mercilessly. One time they even pulled a gun on one. They held back no punches and often had the effect of sending these people running out the door, one time in tears. This has always been a high entertainment for us in Graysville. But it's always meant a little more to me because, you see, 8 years ago I started having to be the subject of that treatment. And I had to start justifying my own service to some of the toughest but most important critics in my world. Overall, the treatment of the Graysville Mercantile is a manifestation of an old North Georgia spirit that does live on today. It's a tradition that thrives throughout the Georgia mountains, all the way from Lookout and Sand Mountain all the way to Toccoa. And if I could read you a letter that I think tells a little about how long this spirit has been up there. This is a letter I found in a book to Governor Joseph Brown from a man named James Aiken in Walker County, February 15th, 1861. You know what was happening in our nation in 1860 and 1861? Governor Brown got this letter that said, "Dear Sir, we the people of Walker and Dade and Catoosa County, Georgia, do not intend to submit to decision of the secession movement, which has been taken out of the hands of the people, has fallen into the hands of the demagogues and office seekers, pickpockets and vagrants about the towns and the cities and the railroads and the depots, and they have got nothing at stake, only a deck of cards, a quart of rot gut, and a cigar stuck in their mouths. If South Georgia wants to leave the Union, let her go. But we, the people of Cherokee Territory, want to stay in the Union. So I hope you'll let us go in peace and we'll set up for ourselves and remain in the Union. If not, we'll try what virtue there is in flint and steel. We have 2,500 volunteers now, their names enrolled. They're sworn to stand to each other, their lives, their property, and all we have to support each other. We want the Chattahoochee to be the line north and south. If we can't get it one way, we know how we can get it at the point of the bayonet and the muzzle of the musket. We are just as willing as you ever seen mountain boys. We know we have some that will be against us. We know how to take care of them. We have the right to leave the South as much as the state has to rebel against the Union. If the people of Georgia will vote to go out of the Union, we'll submit to it as cheerful as ever you've seen. And if it's not brought back to the people, we will fight it as long as there are men to fight. Let the people have a vote on it. If they say so, we'll go, but not until then. I hope you'll consider well what we've written to you." That's the spirit in North Georgia that has made that region slow to the idea of leaving the Union. Ironically, it made the region slow to the idea of coming back to the Union as well. Dade County, we only got it back in 1946. We are not too quick up there to jump on a bandwagon. We're more than a bit suspicious of authority. We're outright rebellious at times. Overall, we're generally stubborn as hell. And on any given meaningful position, we would rather fight than switch. Hopefully, this will explain much about my 8 years here. Hopefully, it will explain much about my decision to move on to other challenges. A friend of mine says, if you don't remember where you came from, how do you know where you're going? Funny thing is, when I first got elected, the flattery of office and the sometimes unreal world of the state capitol almost made me forget where I came from. It took a couple of direct shocks to my political and physical systems to get my attention. The Lord does work in mysterious ways. These principles have sometimes got me in hot water here. Sometimes I know the circumstances have made it difficult for you to even speak to me, much less support me at times, at least in public. Please know that I understand how things work around here, and I leave you with absolutely nothing but the best of feelings and no grudges for every member here. But in the end, you must know that while I may not have pleased you, I have passed with flying colors at the Graysville Mercantile. So in April, I will launch my candidacy for the U.S. Congress from the front steps of the Graysville Mercantile. From there, I'll go from Graysville to Gainesville, from Trenton to Talking Rock to Toccoa, from Clayton to Cumming to Canton, and all points in between. I ask for your prayers and support, that I keep the proper perspective and the grounding that you've given me, that I keep these friendships that have given me a constant sense of support and a regular dose of those blessings of reality that I told you about. And in leaving, I challenge you to find and get reacquainted with your own Graysville Mercantile store. It's a place in your heart that will hold you to the highest accountability. This all being said and done, I now bid you farewell and the most respectful thank you to one and all. When you get your house portrait, in the lower right-hand corner of that official photo, you'll find the shorter version of this speech. It's a little sign that says goodbye right on the front of my desk. Doug, I just had to do that. God bless you, God bless your families, and God bless the state of Georgia. Mr. Speaker, I now yield this well.
Thank you, Ken. We wish you a great amount of luck and Godspeed from all of us here in the Georgia House. Ladies and gentlemen, we have one more group by resolution. As soon as we have one or two goodbyes here, we'd like to hear from Mr. Gerald Green. We'll pause for just a moment. To our guest with Mr. Gerald Green, I hope you are witnessing some of the comradeship, the friendship that members here in this House develop over a long period of association with friends from all over the state. This is a very important moment to all of us, that one of our colleagues will be leaving us at the end of this session and headed for hopefully greater things. Mr. Poston is announcing his candidacy for United States Congress. In just a moment, we will get Mr. Gerald Green to come to the podium and introduce some very fine young people. Ladies and gentlemen in the line for Mr. Poston, would you please do get your pictures very quietly while Mr. Green introduces these fine young people. Everyone else on the floor, please have a seat except those in line. Everyone on the floor, find a seat. All along the walls, would y'all find a seat? Back in the back. Oh, under the screen, find a seat. Those in line, please do it as quietly as possible because these are very fine young people. Would you hold a conversation down in the line, please? Everyone in the line.
I do. I sure do.
Mr. Green, Gerald Green has a very important group by resolution.